परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. One and all, each and every one of you joining us here, sitting with us today, watching Nithyananda TV, Kailasa's official TV channel. Here today, on this platform, Swami has given us the amazing opportunity to have the Jivartha Sadhas, the Vakyartha Sadhas, about a very specific topic. The past couple of days, since December 14th, the Pralaya has ended, and it is time to restart our life, and from a very new perspective, from a fresh perspective, after all the old thought currents, old habits, after the cleansing of all the impurities of the past, Swamiji has asked all of us now to take the time, reflect back, stop taking decisions from the Pralaya sitting inside of us, and build our life going forward. Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasanidanam, His Divine Holiness, has been driving Hinduism, reviving the Sanatana Hindu Dharma through Shri Kailasa, the only Hindu nation. Over the past 6 months, through various things, not just the coronavirus, this is a literal pralaya, as Swamiji yesterday night had described in the Satsang. Man-made calamities and natural calamities, both of them ganging up together and showing humanity how flawed our current system is and how much more we need to evolve ourselves. Swamiji also beautifully says that Pralaya was so powerful that it is not just what has happened outside, it has gone and even sat inside ourselves as well. Only when we take the time to sit with ourselves, look in, we'll be able to differentiate and identify the decisions which we took during Pralaya. Stopping those decisions, making sure that we do not continue from those decisions, and starting with a new life, with a fresh life, fresh lease of life. Swamiji has asked us to have the Vakyartha Sadhas, have the Jivartha Sadhas, which pertains to this, where we are able to identify all the thought currents, all the root patterns, everything pre-Pralaya, everything which we have taken during Pralaya. And now, time that we take a little bit time, spend some awareness, identify those things, and make sure that we do not indulge in it. Make sure that we drop even all the decisions which we took during Pralaya, so that we can live life beautifully. Swamiji beautifully even said that the problem with Pralaya is you are put into delusion and you do not even know that you are in delusion. That is the biggest problem. Somebody tells you that you're deluded, you'll get angry. You look at them as a villain. That's why Swamiji beautifully says again and again to view everyone as Paramashiva. Only when you view everyone as Paramashiva, only then you will be able to help others. Others also will be able to help you to come out of delusion. So, before I introduce the rest of the panel, and before we get into the Jivatha discussion, we'll watch a short clip from Swamiji himself, where he explains about the Jivatha Sadhas and the importance of Jivatha Sadhas. Why having the Vakya Sadhas and Jivatha Sadhas is important, how it pertains to how it's an age-old tradition in Hinduism. Please stay tuned.
Vakyartha Sadhas every day. Vakyartha Sadhas every day. Vakyartha analyze them, think about them, contemplate them. Every moment you spend on intra-analyzing, your incompletions melt down. You are living Advaita. How much ever you struggle to find the solution externally, you will never find the solution. What you expect externally, if you think, I'll finish all the work, I took it on myself or Swamiji gave it to me, and then I'll rest in peace. Never. Even after you leave the body, we have work for you. Understand, if you are expecting the external solution, no. You need to be told you are a fool. Wherever you really need to be told you are a fool, you should be told you are a fool. That is a real good thing for you. If you have some disease, you need to be told you have the disease. Then you will understand the seriousness and start taking medication. Manana, intra-analyzing, is really important. Because the life gets aligned to living Advaita with Manana. Shankara says beautifully, Shrute Shatagunam Vidyan Mananam. The meaning is Manana is 100 times superior to Shravana. Intra-analyzing is 100 times superior to listening, and living is 100 times superior to intra-analyzing. You need to listen and internalize again and again and again. That is Vakyartha Sadhas. Even if there are 2-3 sannyasis in your ashram, start the Vakyartha Sadhas. Slowly devotees will start gathering. Everywhere, in every ashram, every center, just like puja is compulsory, Vakyartha Sadhas should become compulsory. More and more learning, more and more internalizing, more and more completion. Understand, other than the spiritual solution, there is no solution. How much ever you try to find solution for any problem, whether it is problem, organization, interpersonally, you won't fight, but you will be waiting. See, it's like directly when you fight, it becomes like an equal fight. But I have seen many cunning fellows, they won't directly fight. They will wait. At some point, they will get that neutral person position. That time they will use that position. When somebody else is attacking him, when he is fighting with somebody else, he is a neutral person. Now come on, use that and attack. Violence. How much ever you hide, how much ever you hide, how much ever you hide, and how much
I'd like to sincerely complete in apologize for the technical difficulties. Nithyananda, am I audible? Nithyananda? Yes. So I'd like to apologize for the technical difficulties. Basically, Swamiji was explaining the importance of Vakyartha Sadhas and how 85% imbibing the truth happens when listening. The 25% happens analyze, do the contemplation, manana. 25% have the jiva, when you have the Vakyartha Sadhas, discussion and the debate. The last 25% happens when you do the Jivartha Sadhas. Live it in your life. Only post a process, any truth, any powerful cognition can be internalized and can be completely imbibed by you. This, let me introduce the panel, starting with Mangalananda and Balsana Nithyananda Gurukul. Met Swamiji back in 2009, and I joined the Gurukul since. And then once the scandal broke out, I had to go back home. Back again in 2012. So since then, I've been here as a Balsant, and it's been a beautiful journey. Not only myself, even my family has transformed so much just by me being in Gurukul. So meeting Swamiji, at first I really, even now looking back, I really don't understand why I had taken this. Even now there is no logical reason for me to take this jump. Living in the US, and things were perfect, but it was just some of urgency and a sense that I just need to be here, and without completely knowing why, I begged them, and after some introduce everyone else on the panel as well. We also have Rajananda Maharaj sitting with us from Adi Kailasa Abode. We have Ashitoshananda sitting with us from Canada. We also have Yanatmananda and Ranoshan also joining us from Canada. And last but not least, we have Mulliyaya joining us from Chennai. Thank all of you so much for joining us here today. So just pass the mic around, let everyone introduce themselves, and it's important for the viewers to know that the people who are sitting here and having these Jivartha Sadhas are not random Tom, Dick and Harry who we've just picked off from the road and put here in the Zoom call. All the people sitting with us on the panel, they all have come from various backgrounds, well-educated backgrounds, from rich culture, and all mature people who are sitting and having this discussion here. So I'd let Rajananda Maharaj introduce himself now.
Nithyananda. My name is Shri Rajananda. I've come to Gurukul back in 2006 when the first Gurukul opened. And since then, it has been with the grace of Swamiji and the guidance of Swamiji. Even coming to Gurukul was with Swamiji's blessings and grace, and his hand was there throughout the whole thing. And fortunately also, my family is connected, and my family also have become Adinavasis, all of them. And they are all here on the lap of Swamiji, being taken care of him. And it is always very great. I'm always very grateful that I had a chance to grow up with Swamiji, and I didn't have the fear of missing out anything outside. And rather, I feel very fortunate that I didn't have to go through what the rest of the world had to go through during the pralay, and also before whatever the world has to face, whatever is the struggles and everything. I am grateful to Swamiji to have saved me from all that and given me a unique life that I can say is now my own, and something I am very proud of, and something
Nithyananda, am I audible? Yes, so we can have Sri Nyanatmananda go on and introduce himself.
Nithyananda Maharaj, thank you very much. Yes, my name is Sri Nithyananda. I've been initiated by Swamiji and given the spiritual name. So I grew up in Canada, and I worked for a couple of years as a computer engineering technologist, and I also worked as an elementary school teacher, and worked and traveled around the world in the field of education for the last 20 years. I've also been teaching meditation, yoga, and various aspects of spiritual life, and was fortunate enough to find out about Swamiji on YouTube in 2008, and spent most of the last 9 years either in India with one of Swamiji's Adinams or in the Toronto Adinam in Canada as a volunteer. And one of the big breakthroughs I saw was, out of all the groups of kids that I've worked with, I've worked in more than 30 schools with more than 100 teachers. And seeing the kids in Bididi was what really showed me that how Swamiji's mission is going to happen. Swamiji says things that a lot of times we are unable to cognize how it's possible. But when I saw the kids in the Balasants and in the Gurukul in the Bengaluru Adinam, I've never seen a group of kids like that where every single one was so free and spontaneous and energetic and able to, no matter what was the activity, they were able to express themselves with confidence, powerfulness, and high energy. Even if it was complaining, even if it was difficulties, there was no powerlessness. It was spontaneous. And if they failed at one subject, going to the next subject the next minute, there was no hangover. I've never seen anything like that, even in a single child. let alone every single child. So when I saw that, it was a huge click. It was like, oh, I see. When the next generation comes like this, beings like this are unstoppable because they're completely compassionate and they have nothing they're hiding. They have no hidden agenda. There's no cunningness, but 100% resilience, which I've never, frankly, seen in a single group of, or in a single child, let alone an entire group. So that was a life-changing event, and it actually happened under the banyan tree in Bididi, standing actually during preparation for a live NTV segment. And so yeah, that was back in 2011, and there's not enough time on the clock to share any more of the magnificent things that happened with Swamiji. Thank you.
Thank you. So just to add a small point here, when Jnanatmananda had shared that there's no hangover to move from one subject to the next when failure comes. Many places, everyone wants everyone else to achieve excellence, to achieve the.
On this auspicious Deepavali day, we have very beautiful announcement. The
Am I audible?
Yes, Maharaj.
People push you to perfectness to achieve the best at what you do.
Maharaj, we can't hear you.
Am I audible?
Yes, Maharaj.
That was, but
Hello, no.
one pushes.
No volume. No volume.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
What I was sharing was Everyone, everywhere, they push you to be perfect. They push you best at what you do. But nowhere in life, nowhere, anywhere at all, that cognition back on your feet. However it may be, we always go through that phase where we fall back down and getting up becomes very difficult. That is one. That is actually one thing which I learned here in Gurukul. Where no matter how many times you fall, there's always some powerful cognition. There's always something back the inspiration, stand up back on your feet. Yeah. I'm going to let Ashutosh Ananda introduce.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. Nithyananda, my name is Shri Nitya Ashutoshananda. I'm also a Canadian. Quick introduction. I studied mechanical engineering technology as well as a little bit of finance and business. And it is while I was studying finance, actually, that I came across some conflicts in my inner space with some of the things which I was hearing from my teachers. And there were some few thought currents which really provoked my seeking and made me move towards seeking for spiritual knowledge. One of them was when in the marketing class, actually, the teacher was introducing the fundamental concept of marketing. And he introduced saying that, see, how marketing works is awakening the latent fears within people in order to sell your product. So when I heard that, I was like, no, this is not what I want. I was already becoming aware that fears was a major issue and it was the source of suffering. And I was starting to look on how to go beyond suffering. And then I'm going to study something which provokes latent fears within people in order to be successful. So I kind of rebelled against that, and I started my seeking, and one thing leading to another. My biological mother introduced me to Swamiji, and then in 2014, I went for the Inner Awakening retreat with the intention of taking the sannyas training afterwards, and did so. And since then, I've been with Swamiji, and it's been an amazing journey. How Swamiji brings you and gives you the next breakthrough, the next breakthrough, the next breakthrough, raising the frequency of your consciousness, allowing you to see deeper and clearer into the fabric of life, of reality, and your source, basically, who you truly are. So I feel very blessed about that, and very happy to be here tonight for this, or today, depending on your time zone, for this Vakyartha Sadhas. Nithyananda.
Joining us here today. Notion.
Nithyananda. My name is Renoshan. I'm also from Canada. And I studied software engineering and actually a little bit of medicine also. And actually, I got to know Swamiji around 2013. And everybody, their experience with Swamiji is completely endless whenever we start sharing. But one thing I can really express is the more and more time, I can say the more and more the relationship with Swamiji deepens, more and more I'm seeing actually how impactful Swamiji's happening is. Swamiji's landing is. This whole Swamiji's very happening itself is such a blessing, not only to my life, not even just to our lives, but the whole universe, the whole Brahmanda. It's such a huge happening. There's even just a few examples like Nithyananda Yoga, Nitya Puja, the Vata Varana Swamiji gives us to actually be able to practice and live this spiritual practice and be able to live these spiritual truths, practice and experiment with the cognitions. And now Swamiji is reviving Hinduism as it is. Swamiji's Hindu parliament, everything that's happening, whether it's the Hindu votes, everything. Swamiji is doing such a huge thing in such a powerful way. We're only going to start seeing the impact. It's not even to say that the impact hasn't been seen, because every year, every day, something some new, clear bomb is always coming up. New as in NEW, CLEAR. Always a new, clear bomb. Always happening. Every day, every month, it's always a new breakthrough. And now Swamiji is manifesting this Hindu parliament and the Hindu votes. It's such a huge happening, and it's such a monumental happening. And it's something that I just have to say I'm really excited for. I really invite everybody to be a part of the Hindu parliament system and the Kailasa votes. This is just one thing I wanted to quickly share. Nithyananda.
And thank you for joining us here today. Last but not least, we have Murli joining us from. Yes, yeah, you can go ahead and introduce.
Okay. This is Murli from Chennai. I'm a teacher and a trainer by profile. I've known Swamiji since 2013, and I came to understand many dimensions about myself after coming to Swamiji. I thought I was very conscious about myself. I knew what I am. I thought I was very perfect. But still, I was not settled in my job because many others around me did not understand my worth, is what I used to feel. And my brother told me that stop asking questions and you will get answers. To be very frank, even this provoked another question in me. How can I get answers if I stop asking questions? What nonsense. He said, just go there, sit in front of him, and you will see many things happening. And you can be only the old you if you choose to be so. So just out of curiosity, I came to Swamiji and I saw that my brother was right. Yes, I did get answers only if I stopped asking questions. And ever since then, a lot of miracles have happened and they continue to happen. And Swamiji once said in his Satsang, life before Guru maybe will be logical, but life after Guru will be magical. And this is no punch dialogue, this is actually a reality, and I'm experiencing this. And I wish more and more such magic happens. And I'm grateful to Swamiji for whatever has happened so far. And actually, I would like to share many miracles, but I think this is not the time for it. Let me answer it in time as an answer to questions, or in connection with some other click that had happened, so that I don't occupy much of my time. Thank you for this opportunity, Maharaj and Sangha and Swamiji. Can't hear you.
Nithyananda? Am I audible? Okay, yes. Yes, thank you. So, thank you so much, Murli, for your sharing. And without, let's get into the Vakyartha Sadhas, let's get into the Vakyartha Sadhas directly. So, I'll just continue from where Swamiji had left off yesterday. Swamiji had shared that the Pralaya, even though it is officially over, there's a lot of the Pralaya which is still sitting inside all of us through various ways, through the various decisions which we have taken during the Pralaya time. Swamiji shared that in the Pralaya, we are put into delusion and we don't even know we're in delusion. If someone provokes us at that time, we get angry and we become opposed to them. So, Pralaya has affected and come through various different parts in our life. So, I just so when Swamiji says that we should iron out ourselves and identify those decisions which we have made during Pralaya and stop and discard all those decisions. So, it's been almost 6 months for the whole Pralaya. The question which I wanted to place here is, how will we know which decision which we had taken out of Pralaya? We can just generalize it saying any decision which we took over the past 6 months is a decision from Pralaya. But in many places, as even now you might feel that some decisions, they're like, we need those decisions in our life, we need to work Without those decisions, many things will not be very practical, and a lot of wheels will not turn. So, how can we just practically live what Swamiji had shared? How can we disregard and identify those decisions which we have made during Pralaya? How do we do tyaga of those decisions, disregard them, and only if we do this, only then we will be able to start building a new life. Swamiji asked us to sit and focus on identifying those decisions which we have made in Pralaya and not continue them going forward. So just start of the discussion here by how do we identify those decisions which we have made in Pralaya. Going to allow Raja Maharaj to share his thoughts on this.
Thank you, Maharaj. So if you look at the lowest lows that we have experienced in the last 1 year, the lowest points, in those points only, whenever even before that, Swamiji always used to say, whenever you're in a low mood or in a depression, don't make any major decisions. Just be with yourself and calm down. So the times when I was the lowest low, and the times when I was really pained or hurt by something, I remember making decisions like, why is this continuously going to happen to me? Why am I going to experience this again? Why do I repetitively put myself vulnerable to get hurt like this? Why do I like these kind of negative thought ideas and questioning just life and existence? Basically, that I feel the times when you start blaming life, it's not fair. It's not going to. It's not supporting me at all. It's not giving me any opportunity, any happiness, any joy. It is always taking away from me and is not giving back. So these times, the lowest lows, when you feel that life is completely on the opposite side of you, it's not on your side. At that same times only, you will feel even Paramashiva or Guru or God may not be even on your side. You won't feel, and that's the actual delusion. I remember I would reminded this many times this year, one shloka from Bhagavad Gita. I think it is from Karma Yoga. He says, Krodha bhavati sammohat, sammohat smritivibramaha, smritivibramshat buddhinashat, buddhinashat pranishiti. From anger comes disillusionment. From disillusionment comes smritivibramaha. You forget memory. Smritivibramahat buddhinashat. From memory, you lose intelligence. Buddhinashat pranishiti. Intelligence is not just really your ability to discriminate what is right and wrong. That's actually that intelligence, to know what is good for you, what is on your side, who is on your side, and what is wrong. What is dharma and what is not dharma. Who is guru and who isn't guru. Even that the guru is on your side or the guru is not on your side, or guru is supporting you always, no matter what, and not. So when you come away from that, when you come to the level of disillusionment, to the level where you think Swamiji is in no way on my side, then you have come to the point of pranashati, which is destruction, completely gone. So, because life, Swamiji represents the life intensely. So when he himself, your feeling is not there, and you feel intensely, you feel life is intensely against you, on the other side of you. So you think everything is going to go the opposite way, everything is going to go bad. So that is when you feel extremely low, cornered, and very vulnerable and open. So in those moments, whatever decisions I made, whatever thought currents I cherished, and how I got out of those, I have to actually look. I still have to look in, because it is in those decisions that only in Pralay where it has the most magnified effect. So in those times only, I would suggest, if we all look in, we can have a chance to see where exactly we made decisions in those times that will impact us moving forward. Because in truth, when it comes to how our patterns work and how even the root pattern work, only those decisions only judge the rest of our life. The powerful cognitions come, but only when we're the most afraid of the events that we're most afraid of. From those events only we cognize everything, and we cognize even the rest of our life. So in those moments only we can I still have to look in more. I just wanted to share that.
I think something which I thought which occurred to me while Raja Maharaj was sharing. So, how does life happen? As human beings, the first 7 years, 3 to 7, that age, all the samskaras, all the patterns, all the thought currents, everything which we develop at that age, that is what pretty much defines us for the rest of our life. It is at that age where all the root patterns are formed, and we see life only in the glasses of those root patterns. With Pralaya, what I feel which has happened is it has literally done a churning of the whole world and washing away everything. So now looking at life, we are now like fresh babies, literally just come out of the mother's womb. When the Pralaya was happening, Swamiji kept us all correct powerful cognitions, put in the correct understandings, and see life only with those cognitions, face life only with those cognitions. That is the real job of the mother. So Swamiji is basically doing the job of the mother, making sure that we have the right cognitions in life. Just want to share a small incident in Mahabharata. After when Bhagavan Sri Krishna goes to Hastinapur as a peace messenger to convey as a peace messenger to negotiate with Hastinapura, with Duryodhana, to at least give 5 villages of land for the Pandavas, on behalf of the Pandavas. Even then Duryodhana had so much arrogance, he did not listen, and he tried to kill Krishna then and there. So after Krishna showed his Vishrupa and established that he is beyond this mortal frame and he cannot be destroyed, put everyone into a space of stunned basically. And when he left, just before he left Hastinapur, Gandhari will go to him and ask forgiveness to Krishna on behalf of her sons. Krishna will beautifully tell Gandhari, if you need to forgive, you don't need to forgive me. Go and forgive your sons to whom you do not impart the correct understandings at the correct age. So this is actually a very real life example where Gandhari, for whatever reason it may have been, she did not take the responsibility to educate her sons, to instill dharma in her sons. That is the job Swamiji is doing to us now. After giving us all the rebirth in life, wants to make sure that we have the correct dharma instilled in us, so that we not fall into the same rut, same vicious cycle again and again, that we're liberated this time once and for all. So this discussion, this Vakyartha Sadhas, is more and more like having more and more of us identifying those dharma, positive thought currents, and inculcating them in our life, so that going forward, the whole of next year, we can live a liberated life. We can live a life living like Paramashiva. So, would like Ashutosh Ananda to go ahead and share his thoughts right now. What does he think on, basically Swamiji Satsang yesterday, and reinventing ourselves, not taking decisions out of the life based, the decision which you took during the Pralaya. You can go ahead now.
In yourself just to change your mind. But during the Pralaya, one thing which was made very clear is that actually, when you start to respond to life like this, it becomes a vicious circle, which which never allows you to attend to that space or the source of this restlessness. So it makes you basically stay in the state that you're in all the time, and you constantly go back and forth between, trying to work and then, distracting yourself, trying to work, distracting yourself. But one of the main thing which Pralaya brought to Ashutosha's awareness was that actually, if you catch yourself at that moment, if you catch yourself, Swamiji gave a lot of diets throughout the Pralaya to help us, and these diets were actually very beneficial. And whether it is the mucus-free diet or the diet for the fermented rice and green chili to cleanse the system and so on and so forth, these diets were very helpful because they were kind of helping Ashutosha to intercept these reactionary decisions whenever he's becoming restless. And at that moment, actually, if you just decide not to react and just to sit and do unclutching or do paramanifestation for a few minutes, if you just bring awareness, if you just sit with yourself, these few moments, the whole inner space shifts, and then a new energy comes and everything gets refreshed. So that's one of the main thing we have. And then one powerful cognition which came back to Ashutosha's awareness is one time Swamiji was saying that changing of work is rest. So whenever you have different activities, and Swamiji has initiated us and has given us various Guru Vaks of different types of activities, whether it is physical exercise or different types of works or responsibilities, just moving from one to another, and not going for this, I'm just going to relax for a few moments, or I'm just going to entertain myself for a few moments. These moments are actually very, we don't see it necessarily initially, but actually they strengthen that restlessness in the inner space, rather than you going to the root of it and just completing with it, discarding the restlessness and raising yourself in a more powerful space. So yeah, that was a very big thing which was learned during this Pralaya, and naturally it becomes the way to respond for the future as well. So just being aware of these moments and not indulging in them, knowing that they don't actually bring a solution, they just strengthen.
Thank you, Shri Ashtosha. And yeah, I also clicked with the point you brought about reactions and how it is just going on in our mind to have a chain reaction to things, and a chain thought current, and a chain way of distracting ourselves when it comes to us feeling not settled with ourselves and not want unrest, deep unrest inside. So in the Pralaya time, that deep unrest reflected through me and through people around me, and you can definitely see how everybody was trying to settle back, and that ecosystem helped seeing everybody work on coming down, work on settling down. So the beautiful thing here in living in one of the Kailasas is to be able to see other people also have the opportunity to see other people work on themselves and work on calming themselves, work on bringing themselves back to the space of oneness. So seeing that was very helpful when personally for me, when I was able to come back from restlessness. So anybody else? Shri Gyanatma, go ahead.
Yes, Nithyananda Maharaj. So, okay, I just have to ask exactly what is it that we want to share about here?
Basically, the question is how do we identify those thought currents, those decisions, identify exactly what Swamiji is asking us to drop over the Pralaya. Exactly what he had shared yesterday in Satsang was to not indulge and not go forward with the decisions which we took during Pralaya. So that is one of the fundamental things Swamiji was reiterating again and again in the satsang. Question is, how do we identify those decisions? Because over such a long period of time, there have been many decisions which we had taken. I mean, every day we take almost nearly hundreds of decisions. So what are those exact decisions Swamiji is asking us to drop in terms of which has been influenced by Pralaya? That is the question we have now.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, personally what I can share is, like Swamiji had said during the Pralaya between the eclipses, to avoid basically making big purchases, to avoid making big life changes, and to avoid basically traveling. So he said that that was a time where the whole cosmos was supporting inner world completion, and it was basically into the outer world destruction. So to avoid putting yourself into outer world pursuits, and to use that time to do the completion, to do the inner work. And he said that doing the sort of spiritual work on yourself will give many times benefit. And he also said at that time, after this December 14th will be a time where that energy will shift into outer world things, and it will be very strong for that. But he was very clear that this was a time where the outer world destruction was going on, but a huge support was all for spiritual rejuvenation. So from here, what it sort of means now, and that Swamiji has said, now plan, because it's looking at life in terms of a local solution. If that comes from a limited perspective, then when the length of that solution, the end of that solution, the lifetime, the longevity of that solution is reached, then it's no longer a solution. It's just been a temporary path to follow. So this is where it's important for people and societies to have actual life solutions, not just a temporary path to follow, not just a sort of, and in terms of avoiding one thing, choosing another thing. But if we look at things in only terms of localized solutions, if it's not an eternal proven solution for my life and your life and for everyone's life, then when we get to the end of that, we're going to be faced with another set of problems. And having just spent that time getting to the end of one set of problems, that leads to another set of problems. So it's essentially more important to be on the path that's going to give everyone a solution. So this is the understanding of how Swamiji is saying we need to look at not just international. It's not about a group of separated nations. That's what's caused the issue. When we look at pitting one nation against another and one group of people against another, we completely discard the space of making solutions for ourselves and for others. So the understanding from here is what Swamiji is saying now is from the space of Pralaya has been completed and will settle down in the humanity over the next few months up to Shivaratri. Whereas that space before December 14th was to avoid outer world endeavors essentially, and big life changes in that sense, but to make the inner completion with yourself and the spiritual strength foundation through Tyaga. Now is the time to reach out. Now is the time to go into creating structures for people, to build what people have really gotten a shock into seeing that they need, something that works. People need something that works. And so that, in the sense, is where it has to be a global, or what Swamiji has been calling a cosmic solution. Global means not just saying this country versus that country, or this neighborhood versus that, but actually there's a group of humans here. There's a group of human bodies that are a spirit manifesting through a human body, and everyone needs that solution. If one country follows this economic framework towards this endeavor and this end, and another country follows a political stance towards another country, that's really just a temporary avoidance of making a solution for ourselves. So when we look at only localized solution and we don't bring a global solution, meaning that We are all spiritual beings in human form that need a solution to that problem. And there's no, that's a universal need. It's not limited by locality or by religion or nation. Every one of us here needs that solution. And that's the only thing that's going to give a solution. If we just look at localized paths that eventually come to an end, then we're just going to come to this end again and ask, why did we spend the last decades leading into some space that's not really giving us solutions? So the basic understanding from here is that now it's about reaching out. It's about creating the structures, finding the structures that are there, what the governments and what the other agencies, the NGOs, what are they doing? What do people need? What are they looking for? How can it be provided? So whereas the space 2 days ago was making more focused on making sure the inner world is strong and rejuvenating, now it's okay, you got to change some of those understandings. The understanding now is we don't need to have the avoidance of creating things in the other world. We don't have to have the avoidance of creating those sort of structures. Now's the time to create the structures. So this is more of the understanding is, whereas the shifting was from the inner healing in space, of course, it's still offering the inner healing, but more on the focus of reaching out to communities, to people, to organizations, to governments, and find out what they want, what they're doing, how they're doing it, how we can make that happen. And it's more about creating those opportunities, spaces, structures that will be there to replace what has, fortunately or unfortunately, not provided what everyone needs on a global level.
Yes, thank you, Shri Agyanatma, for your sharing. I had one thought from based off the conversations that has been coming up, and actually what we have experienced as Pralay and what we have been sharing so far in the last few days of Vakyartha Sadhas was actually how good it was. Actually, how nice it was, how everything in the whole Pralay Swamiji had taken us through it, and it was such a smooth ride for us. And for us, when now he's telling us that don't rush to execute the decisions you made during the Pralay. And then I'm thinking, okay, but I made very good decisions. I made decisions that are like, yeah, that's what I want to be like, that's what I want to live by. But I think there is a catch here that Swamiji is trying to point out in us, that he has always thought, whenever he gave any technique, he says, if he gives the technique of unclutching, he says the technique of unclutching is like the stick that is used to light the whole prai. When you do the burials, a stick is used to light the entire prai so that everything burns at one time, and finally that same stick is thrown inside. Unclutching from unclutching itself. Going beyond the need for having those backup solutions. Yes, they exist, they manifest when I need, but the need for them and the attachment to them and the necessary time, because we had time now, we were able to use the time and do yoga, do puja, do so many things that we were not able to do before. But the need for it has to be something that is, of course, that supports us, it makes us continue. But that final enlightenment push, that push towards going beyond and being ready to go, I think that final push is what Swamiji is asking us to make. It may be different for everybody here. Even I am I have to understand it a little bit more, and then look in and see what is the final thing here. Because the last 1 year I have to experience tremendous amount of transformation, but finally it is, and again due to the grace and the blessings of Swamiji. But if I have to not rush with this excitement to say, yeah, I can go ahead in the future and plan, so then I'm not going to rush. I'm just going to let the pralay end, let it end as Swamiji says, and as he's guiding us through the whole thing and taking care of it. Just execute what he's saying or what he's doing. And the second part of what he asked us to look into was, let's use universal values, principles from Agamic, from Vedagamas to solve the issues of global problems, and he actually emphasized very much about the word global, and it's a cosmic perspective, he says, and all the crisis humanity is facing. So Vedagamic solutions, and so it's like for me, I think it's like, let's start again with a clean slate of there's a lot more to learn. There's a lot more to catch up in this next year. There's a lot more Swamijis ready to give us and initiate us into. So let's be ready for that, and let's be open to that for the upcoming things. So I feel Swamiji is guiding us to become more open and less closed and receive whatever is going to come up.
Actually, Raja Maharaj reminded me of a story Swamiji shared during the Brahma Sutra Satsang. Question had come up where about how religion itself is used as a stepping stone to achieve enlightenment, to achieve the ultimate. So Swamiji gives the example of Ramakrishna. Whole life, his whole being was based on Kali. When he wakes up Kali itself, and when he eats, he feeds Kali literally. So his whole being, his whole life center, everything was focused on Kali, and then so that took Ramakrishna up to the point where he's almost enlightened. Then Totapuri had to come and make Ramakrishna cut Kali. So it is only when Ramakrishna cut Kali, only then he fully became enlightened. So the example Raja Maharaj gave, where that fire stick which is lit with a fire that goes and to light all the other fires, and then finally that stick is also tossed inside. So essence is, even dharma is used as a stepping stone to achieve enlightenment. Dharma, it dissolves and it completes you with everything else. You can get rid of all your other incompletions with that stick. Now that stick also you need to sacrifice to achieve the ultimate. So this is just a small example I was reminded by. So go ahead and let Ranoshan share his thoughts and his perspective and views. You can go ahead, yeah.
Yes, Nithyananda. Actually, what you both shared is also giving me a huge click and a different perspective of actually my experience since the end of Pralaya. So one click that I've been really seeing is this integrity with Kala. Especially these past few days, ever since the Pralaya was over, Ranoshan's one click led to another, and Ranoshan realized, okay, this is the time to start really having integrity with Kala, meaning having integrity with the number on the clock, having integrity with how you spend Kala, how you experience Kala, meaning not wasting time, not abusing time, and also not abusing time by abusing yourself through worry, guilt, anger, like all these things. Not doing this because this is also taking advantage of Kala. Same way. Also, same thing with not taking advantage of others' experience of Kala. Because this is also now abusing their experience of Kala. So the whole thing of having integrity, complete integrity with Kala. And one thing that I started to do just for this is I started having an alarm every 30 minutes, just so that every 30 minutes I'll wake up. Basically saying, okay, what am I doing right now? And how am I feeling right now? And how am I affecting others right now? And every 30 minutes, it's like a reset. It's every 30 minutes, actually, like Raja Maharaj was sharing, it's like every 30 minutes, it's that instantaneous unclutch. It's like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm feeling. Write it down, keep track of it. Okay, don't have guilt about it. Just make the decision and be life positive. That's it. And I'm seeing every 30 minutes, some life experience will happen in the 30 minutes. And then as soon as the alarm hits, it's like a bell. As soon as the bell rings, then immediately is waking up and saying, okay, immediately complete, drop the incompletion, drop the life negative, and just be life positive. Every 30 minutes, right now, the experience, Ranoshan is still going through this experience and still going through the Nididhyasana, still experiencing this thing and really putting it into practice. And really, actually, what you shared gave me a huge click, is this unclutching from unclutching. Really, like, this is experience that's happening every time the bell rings. Every time the waking up happens, it's like, oh, it's like sudden. It's like it's not even a shock to the system, but really just waking up and saying, okay, time to make decision. Decide to be, well, what decision you make is different, but make a decision, because the exact click that happens in this is every moment in life is a decision. Your very experience of Kala is continuously making decision. Being intensely life positive, how Renoshan cognizes, is continuously making life positive decision in this continuous stream of making decision. And more, it's still a process that's happening, but just the cognition and sort of like seeing the direction things are going is that instantaneous unclutching, that instantaneous, oh, okay, waking up. This exact experience, this exact circuit, stretched out continuously, is life. This is the experience Renoshan is wanting to experience and doing this practice of this, I won't even say practice, but experimenting with this truth with. To see, okay, how can I be like this? How can I do this? Because one experience really I'm having is every time this happens, really I'm seeing that I can decide to be whatever I want. I can decide however I want to feel. I can decide whatever I want to do. And the whole past drops. Whatever incompletion I had drops. Like the whole pralaya, Swamiji, one remembrance Renoshan is having is Swamiji sharing, if you're still making the same decisions as from pralaya, then you're still in pralaya. This is how Renoshan is remembering, how Swamiji is sharing. But if you're still making those same decisions, then you're still in pralaya. Means what? You're making the same decision as past. Means what? You're holding on to the past. Means what? The spontaneity isn't happening. The just immediate, just nowness isn't happening. There's something that's making a decision that is aligned to what happened in the past. It's not fresh. It's not new. So this continuously being fresh. This is exactly the experience and sharing that I wanted to share about this thing of coming out of pralaya and how this relates to the past decisions of pralaya and how to come out of those past decisions. It's exactly like you were sharing. It's just the unclutching is the tool we use first to burn the whole thing. Dharma is a tool we use to burn the whole thing. And then we put the unclutching itself also in the fire. We put the Dharma itself also in the fire. Exactly like Ramakrishna's experience also. We put the very last thing to also in the fire. And then the whole thing happens. Again, this is something that's still happening in Renoshan and still experiencing, but this is also the experience I wanted to share with everybody. Nithyananda.
Thank you. Yeah, and to how Shri Dosha was sharing about reactions, and especially how you're practicing. Basically, every half an hour, you're making a conscious action, a conscious decision. If I was to do that, I would think, you would just have a jolt out of your reactionary mind, and you go back into making some conscious decision every few minutes. And when you have it in a timed manner like that, it's actually a very good way to practice unclutching and come back to a beautiful space. So, yeah, I even remember in one of the Satsangs when Swamiji was giving after Sadashivam, he was telling how many decisions from Mahabharata were made because people were reacting to things. It was only Krishna who was doing actions. He was the only person doing any action in the entire Mahabharata. His decisions were not any way reactionary. And a reaction to their own patterns and reaction to an event outside. It was a conscious decision every time. And I think this is the flow that Swamiji wants us to go in. To make a next level conscious decision every time going forward. And it's very rejuvenating and actually that's what I wanted to add. Murliya, you can share your thoughts here. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Actually, you people have shared quite a very deep perspective as compared to mine, I should say. From my side, I have a very small thought. Like, I'm not a very tech-savvy person. This pralaya made everything go digital. So I was really at a loss to understand what I should do. I don't know these applications, how to download applications, all that. Download applications, use these digital stuff and all that. So when I actually called up my friends to help me with many things, and they said, no, do this. I started feeling that they were not as helpful as they were. and I became very angry inside me because of that. So that I think I should complete and come out of. That's the only thing I can add as of now. If something else clicks, maybe I can share it in another opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, sir, yeah. Actually, we wanted. Do you have anything more to say about this one, especially on what Swamiji had said last night? Anything that he had told that clicked with you? Tell your manana about it if you wanted to share.
Just still thinking actually.
Now, I think it will be a good chance. We've all shared various ways how we can identify and how this pralaya has affected us, how we think is the best way going forward. So I think the best way going forward is actually to come and become part of the Paramashivam program happening from January 7th onwards. So whatever cleaning, it's like whatever we do is only cleaning the house and tidying up, making sure that we're ready for the guests to come, for Paramashiva to come into our house. So all the sharing, all the Vakyartha Sadhas, all the cleansing which we do by ourselves, it's just nothing more than keeping the house ready, tidying it up, washing, getting all the pralaya muck out of it, and keeping it auspicious and ready for Paramashiva to come. Let's watch a small promo video about Paramashivam. Please stay tuned.
The time is right. The world is ready. You are going to experience literally Paramashiva. Most powerful, intangible but definitive, intense processor. This is the most powerful spiritual nuclear explosion, the strong force of Kailasa landing on planet Earth directly. One thing I can be sure, you will not exist end of the program. I can guarantee that. Only Paramashiva will be there.
Nithyananda? Yes. So, thank you so much for all of you joining us today. Thank you so much for the very beautiful promo. I think it's time to conclude now. We have so much more to discuss. Actually, much more than we have to discuss. We have a little bit more to internalize. Let Swamiji Satsang get into us, and hopefully when he comes again today night, he has something new to share with all of us. So further and further, continue to discuss and contemplate, share our thoughts and ideas and our thought currents basically on what we have understood from Swamiji Satsang, helping each other to get more and more in depth, bring a much more deeper understanding in what Swamiji has been sharing. That's actually the true purpose of Swamiji gives his satsang and goes, but it's when this Jivatas happens, it gets digested and imbibed into our system. So having this Vakyartha Sadhas is as important as listening to the satsang, where eating the food alone is not enough. It'll just sit in your stomach without being digested, and it'll only cause more and more problems further, or it'll take a very long time to get digested. Having the Jivatas Sadhas is like adding a little bit of curry leaves to it, where it helps in the digestion and helps getting imbibed into your system. So with this, would like to thank the rest of the panel. Like to thank Ashutosh Ananda, Jnanatmananda, Ranoshan, Murliya, and Raja Maharaj as well for joining us here today for the Vakyartha Sadhas. I personally feeling I'm enjoying these Vakyarthas much more than the previous Vakyarthas which we used to have about non-vegetarianism and about the religious conversion, all this. The true purpose of Vakyarthas is to bring us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and deeper understanding about life. And I feel that those cognitions and those clicks are actually happening only now. So I'd like to thank all of you to like to thank all of you for joining us here today, and all of you who are watching us live on NTV. If any of you have had any clicks, any of you have feel that you are one of those people who need to rebuild themselves and want to make sure that going forward you will have the best in your life, and all you need to do is visit www.paramashivoham.org and register yourself for the Paramashivam program, where Swamiji himself will be conducting the program from January 7th onwards. With this, let's enter into the Nitya Satsang. Prepare ourselves, getting into the meditation. Please sit with your head, neck and spine in a straight line. Close your eyes and visualize Swamiji sitting there in your Ananda Gandha, Paramashiva, with the 25 heads and 50 hands. Now, allowing the mantra to vibrate throughout your entire body, start chanting the Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
சித்தங்கா போக்கு சிவம் போக்கு என சொன்னாரே, பித்தங்கா போக மருந்தாக தனம் வந்தாரே. வடகாசி தென்காசி மணியோரன் சித்தரடி அடியாத்தி முடிஞ்சாக்கா அடையா.
Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. I welcome you all. I welcome. Kailasa is the enlightenment ecosystem. It may be mapped on a temple, monastery, adinam, a nation. It may be mapped on planet Earth, but Kailasa itself is an enlightenment ecosystem. Thousands and thousands radiate light. Millions and millions manifesting power, living together all over the world, happily, blissfully. blissfully, peacefully, powerfully. Paramashiva directly from Kailasa. Listen. The peak of the pralaya is over. But don't execute the decisions you made during pralaya time. Listen carefully. During pralaya, literally, mentally, physically, consciously, you are shaken. At that time, you would have made many decisions about life, about yourself. It is all from mentally broken space. Don't start executing those conclusions, decisions now, because the pralaya peak is over. Understand carefully. You are free to be physically active because pralaya peak is over. But mentally start planning everything from now. Don't execute the decisions, conclusions you arrived during pralaya time. Be very careful. Settle down for some more days. Restart, rebuild your inner space powerfully. Relook all the decisions you took in your life during pralaya. Start consciously doing life positive mind building, super conscious inner space building. I am seeing lot of messages in the social media, Facebook, everywhere sent to me, that people are just jumping and start executing all the decisions you made during pralaya. Then pralaya is not over for you. Understand? You are getting into a big mess if you start executing the decisions you took during pralaya. You need to be aware of that. Be very clear. Next few days I will reveal details of how your inner space is trying to still execute the life decisions you made during pralaya. That is like a pralaya's hangover. So be very clear. Only physically you can become active now. Mentally, don't execute the decisions you took before pralaya, means during pralaya. Till December 14th, all the decisions you took, don't try to execute them now. Now sit and re-look at the whole thing. Start fresh about your life, about yourself, about your relationships, about your business, about your career. Start looking fresh and start making decisions. to be safe. Settle down for some time, at least next 15 days, 1 month. So you will see many of your broken parts can be put together, make more peace within you, trust within you. I am so happy that United Nations has declared 2021 to be the year of peace and trust, International Year of Peace and Trust. So let's all build peace and trust within ourselves, with others, and start rebuilding, start creating fresh the whole life. Understand? This pralaya has taught us too many lessons. Shortcomings of the man-made laws and man-made principles, and the real value of the universal values, universal principles. People have started realizing universal values, the value of the universal principles like dharma. Veda Agamas and Dharma Shastras are established on universal principles. To understand,
திருப்பாதம் அதை காணும் சுபயோகம் இன்று கூடும் நித்தியன் பாதம் குருநாதன் திருப்பாதம் அதை காணும் சுபயோகம் இன்று கூடும் நித்தியன்
The time is right. The world is ready. you are going to experience literally Paramashiva. Most powerful, intangible but definitive, intense processes. This is the most powerful spiritual nuclear explosion, the strong force of Kailasa landing on planet Earth directly. One thing I can be sure, you will not exist end of the program. I can guarantee that. Only Paramashiva will be there. Millions